Hello scholars, so you are watching this video today because you are going to learn how to multiply using partial products. This is our standard for the day. And I know that we've already practiced multiplying like this using area models. We're going to talk about partial products in just a minute. So right now on the count of 3, I want you to take that math notebook out of your desk and open to a fresh page. 1, 2, 3. Take it out, open up, and I want you at the top of your paper to write multiplying using partial products at the top of your paper. Don't forget, in the top corner, your date. I'll let you pause the video right now to write that down. Now, like I mentioned before, we've talked about this before. We've multiplied using an area model. As a quick recap, you'll remember we drew a rectangle and decomposed this number into 90 plus 3. We then multiplied it by 7. We partitioned our rectangle and we found the length, which was 90, times the width, 7, to get 630. We did the same thing for this one, for this small rectangle. This was our partial product. This is our other partial product. And we added both of our partial products together to get the product of 93 times 7. Today we're going to use a different strategy. Instead of using an area model, I'll show you a quicker and possibly more efficient strategy. Let's begin with a quick warm-up. Remember, we're still multiplying today, so let's look at this first question. Mr. L baked 60 chocolate chip cookies. Each cookie had 9 chocolate chips. How many chocolate chips did he use in all? Now, as I'm reading this question, I might annotate it. I recognize that there are 60 chocolate chip cookies, and each cookie had 9 chocolate chips. So quickly, I can recognize, each. That as a math clue word, I might use that for multiplication today. So let's look at 60 times 9 would be my math sentence. That would be my equation. I think pretty quickly we can solve this problem together. So we can say 6 times 9 equals 54. And let's make it 10 times larger by adding that 0 onto the end. So our product is 540. Let's look at our next problem. 50 fourth graders read books over the summer. They each read 7 books. What is the total number of books the fourth graders read? Once again, 50 fourth graders, and they each read 7 books, or they read 7 books each. So 7 books, 7 books, 7 books, 7 books, 7 books. And we could add all of those up together 50 times. That would be repeated addition. However, we want to find the total number, and it might be even more efficient for us to just say 50 times 7. Remember, our basic fact here is 5 times 7, and we know that 5 times 7 is 35. Make it 10 times larger by adding that 1 0 onto the end. This was just a quick warm-up, a quick review. Let's get into our lesson for the day. So, as I'm writing, I'd like for you to make sure you're writing. Don't write down the word problems, just write down the math. I'll show you quickly what we need to do. Today, remember that we are multiplying by using partial products. Like I said before, we've used an area model before. That's not exactly the focus of today. Today, you're going to learn a different strategy that you may like even more. Let's start by reading. Miss Prestle purchased 27 iced coffees in 1 month. Each iced coffee cost $3. What was the total cost of her iced coffee? So consider, once again, this is another multiplication problem. She may have purchased 27 iced coffees and each one cost $3. So I could say she spent $3, $3, $3, $3, $3, $3. And I would repeat that addition, or I can make it pretty quick and efficient by saying that each iced coffee costs $3 and she bought 27 of them. I'm going to multiply. So watch how I set up my problem, and I want you to do the same thing. 27 times 3. And I set it up vertically just like this. This is different from the area model that we had already previously done. This looks similar to something that you may have seen before. So this should be on your paper now. I'm going to show you how to multiply using partial products. The first thing I'm going to do is multiply, and I'm going to multiply my ones. Watch this. 3 times 7. So I'm going to write right down here. I'm multiplying 3 times 7. And what is 3 times 7? We know that is 21. After I multiply my ones, I'm going to multiply my tens. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Look very carefully. 3 times this number right here. Now, this is your great mistake. Look carefully. A lot of fourth graders will just multiply 3 times 2, but they don't think about the value of the 2. Now, what is the value of this 2 in the tens place? It is 20. So please make sure that you have on your paper that you are multiplying 3 times 20, not just 3 times 2. The value of that 2 is a 20. So 3 times 2, we know that it's going to have a 0 on the end. And 3 times 2 is 60. That's our first step. As a quick recap, we multiplied our ones. You can see that in green. 3 times 7. Then we multiplied our tens. 3 times, not 2, 20. The second step is we add our partial products. This is very similar to our previous strategy. Let's add these up together. And we know that the total cost of her iced coffees was $81. That's a lot of money for iced coffee, Miss Prestel. Now I want to show you really quickly. This is the same thing that you've already been doing with your rectangular area model. I'm still multiplying 3 times 20 plus 7. It is still the same thing. I'm still doing 3 times 20, which we know equals 60. You see the same thing here? I'm still multiplying 3 times 7. You see this other partial product here. I'm still going to add those partial products together. And I get the same product. So it just depends on which strategy you'd like to use. You're still multiplying partial products here. You're just not using the area model. If you prefer this, you might decide to use this after today. But we're going to practice again with this because this is our strategy for the day. Let's look at our second question. Jaden has 15 friends over for a birthday party. His mom gives each friend 8 pieces of candy. How many pieces of candy did Jaden's mom give away in all? There's a few things here that we might use as our clue words. I see that he had 15 friends over, and he gave each friend, or his mom gave each friend, 8 pieces of candy. So once again, I might say, okay, well, I do see in all here. So I could say, okay, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, and that would be repeated addition, but we're going to make it nice and quick and be efficient. We're going to use multiplication here. So let's write down our equation. Pick up that pencil and write 15 times 8, because he gave each friend 8 pieces of candy. 15 times 8. Now remember our steps that we used before. We started off by multiplying our ones. Thinking to yourself, what are the 2 numbers that I need to multiply? What 2 digits do I need to multiply? Eight times 5. Now I like to make sure that I keep 8 as the first thing that I multiply. So 8 times 5, I could roll my numbers here, and I would get that 8 times 5 is equal to 40. The next thing I'm going to do is multiply my tens. So let's multiply our tens. Am I going to do 8 times 1? No, exactly. I'm not going to do 8 times 1. I'm going to do 8 times the value of this 1. And a 1 in the tens place is just equal to 10. So we have 8 times 10, which is equal to 80. Let's see how many pieces of candy his mom gave away in all. So last step is to add our partial products. Let's add them up together. And his mom gave away 120 pieces of candy. Take a few seconds to finish taking these notes. If you need to pause the video, I'll let you pause it now. And we're moving on. Now, I want to give you a chance to get some quick practice in. So right now, I'm going to have you pause the video. You're going to write down these 4 problems after you pause the video. Write down these 4 problems and then solve them. We'll come back and check your answers whenever you unpause the video. So first, write these down, then work them out. You can unpause the video afterwards. All right, so I hope you've worked all 4 of these out. We're going to do some quick practice and take 1 minute to solve through all of these. Remember, the first thing I'm doing is multiplying my 1. So I have 7 times 1. And then I'll multiply my, that's not 7 times 1. That's 7 times 6. 7 times 6, you should have 42. I'll multiply my tens next and do 7 times 10, which is equal to 70. Let's add all of that together to get 112. One thing to note is I always keep my 7s, this number that I'm multiplying by each time, in the same place. That way I can just keep track of what I'm doing. Let's look at my next one. Multiply my 1s, 3 times 6, which I know is equal to 18, and my 10s. 3 times 30, which is equal to 90. Next step is to add my partial products. 108. We've got 2 more here. The first is 6 times 9, which is 54. And 6 times 40, which is equal to 6, 12, 18, 24, 240. I'm going to add all of these together. Add all my partial products together to get 294. My last one, I may have tried to trick you up here. Let's see if I tricked you. I have 5 times 5, which is 25, and multiply here. 5 times 50, which is 250. Excellent. Add my partial products together to get 275. Now, if you got all of these right, I want you to give yourself a personal whoosh. Ready? Let's do it. Whoosh. So let's move on. I want to give you guys one challenge problem. I know that you can handle this. This is your last challenge and you will be on your own officially. You know how to multiply using partial products, not just using the area model, but using the partial products vertically, just like this. Now, I want to review really quickly our steps. We multiply our 1s and our 10s. What do you think might be the next thing that we multiply? Let's see in this problem. If Deshaun Watson throws 426 yards every football game, how many yards will he throw after 6 games? Now, once again, you'll see he's throwing for 426 yards during one football game. And I want to know how many he throws after 6 games. So 426, 426, each one of those games for 4 games. We're going to make this a multiplication problem. 426 times 6. Now, you'll obviously remember our first step is to multiply our ones. So our first step is 6 times 6. 6 times 6. And we know that 6 times 6 is equal to 36. After that, we're going to multiply our tens. So we're multiplying 6 times 2. No, we're going to multiply 6 times 20. Exactly. And that's going to be 120. What do you think is the third thing that we're going to multiply here? Now, good mathematicians, remember, we can take patterns and use that and apply it to our math. Now, we're noticing we're multiplying our ones and our tens. What's the pattern? What do you think the last thing that we're going to multiply is? 6 times this 4. We multiplied our ones, our tens. Now we need to multiply our hundreds. Now, this is not just 6 times 4. It's 6 times the value of this 4. The value of this 4 is 400. I know it's going to be 100 times larger because it has 2 zeros on the end. 6 times 4 is 24. Our last step, we multiplied our ones, our tens, our hundreds. We know the very last step. We're going to add together our partial products. 6, 5, 5, and 2. So how many yards will he throw after 6 games? He will throw 2,556 yards. Today, you learned how to multiply using partial products. Remember, we'll set up our problems vertically. We'll multiply our ones, our tens, and our hundreds. Don't forget to write these off to the side, your partial products and your factors, so that you can multiply those and add up your partial products at the very end. You did great today.